Looking back, my first interest in engineering came about when I was 3 years old. I was a huge fan of the TV series Robot Wars, where homemade radio-controlled machines face each other in combat. This is a direct quote from the first line of the personal statement which I sent to universities when I applied for places on engineering degree courses 8 years ago. This is my engineering degree. One of my final year modules was automation and robotics, which was the module where I got the highest marks. This is money. This is required to build robots. This is a paycheck. This is proof that the job I have sends me money every month. I think we know where this is going. Upper Tysoe, Warwickshire. I'd never heard of it either, but the village hall was the venue for the 57th Antweight World Series on Saturday the 23rd of February 2019. For my non-Roboteer friends, Antweights are a class of fighting robot where competitors must weigh less than 150 grams and must fit into a 4-inch cube. I have built robots before, but only in the special Robo Nerd Antweight class, which is slightly bigger than traditional Antweights, as they're only used in exhibition fights at the Robo Nerd conventions. Here's one of the robots I built at the Robo Nerd. It's called Gru 2. It's the one with the little figurine of Gru on it. This is the only fight we have video of, and coincidentally I won it. For the World Series, my team started some completely new builds. First off, let's meet the team. We are EGEM Robotics. Here's me, Eli, this is Ed. Here are my team's robots and how they got on.
Kilbo Stabbins, Thwackbot.
Kilbo Stabbins was built as my secondary robot using 9-gram continuous servos rather than proper speed controls and motors. In preliminary testing, I thought I'd be able to swing my weapon all the way over in both directions, replacing the pen you see here with a knife. I bought some cheap kitchen knives from Sainsbury's and planned to cut the blade off, but I didn't have the tools which could do that. My backup knives from Poundland were brittle enough to snap with my bare hands, so I took 2 knife blades and stuck them on the robot. One vertically for thwacks and another horizontally to sit and spin. In testing, I had one good hit before resorting to have to drive around and waiting until it got flipped back over. I was told that my knife safety covers were not necessary, since these blades were not sharp enough to cause harm to people. So I was very excited for my first competition fight. Let's see how it goes.
3, 2, 1, go!
So it's quite obvious that I don't really know how to drive the thing in a way that can get weapon hits. I get trapped in the flipper, so I resort to sitting and spinning. But I don't really spin fast enough to actually do any damage. First one gets flipping, I end up in the pit. So in these competitions, when you lose, you don't automatically go out, you drop down into the loser's bracket and you get one more chance. So I decided to change configuration to 2 vertical blades.
That's fine. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
My initial shout was, wow, it's backwards, because I loaded the robot into the arena backwards, and I can't really get any hits now. Both drivers struggle to control the robots in this fight. You can see me rocking it back and forth to try to get some weapon hits. I'm quite nervous in this fight because I accidentally nudged the trims. And there you hear me commanding it to thwack when that won't happen. Narrowly dodged the pit again, so I decided to go for my signature move, which is driving up against the wall to flip over. And this causes Dusty to fall in the pit. It goes down as a win for Kilbo Stabbins. A win is a win. My aim was to win one fight in this event, and I actually did it. I was overcome with joy. So I went back to the pit area and I made a small modification to Kilbo. It was a wedge made of cardboard from a Frosties packet. Craig Charles specifically warned us about this in the 1999 Builder's Guide.
Cornflake packets, notoriously bad robots.
Incredibly, the placement of the wedge actually gave me something to stop the robot flipping over entirely, so I could rear up and bring the blade down in front of me. So I now had an actual attack plan. Just in time for Fight 3 against Rented for the Roboteer's Pleasure.
3, 2, 1, go!
A cautious start from both sides. Eventually coming together in the middle. Kilbo rearing up to attack. And missing. Rearing up, here we go. And one hit. One hit registered. And Rented immediately gets 3 back. Both drivers cautious. And now I get to see how the wedge works. Spoilers, not well. No pushing power. I get lifted up and dumped in the pit. Kill by Stabbins ends the tournament with 1 win and 2 losses. Now it's time to check in on Ed's robot.
Hegemony. Spinner.
Hegemony, or by the end just Hedge, is Ed's first robot, and the build was fraught with problems. Ed made this CAD model with some nice big batteries carried in an open tray on the back. This big old battery ended up burning out Ed's receiver when he plugged it in. Also, it printed as the wrong size, so it was up to us in our makeshift hackspace session on my dining table to get it ready on the night before the competition. We used Lego wheels, hot glue, rubber bands, cable ties, and the metal from an operation game to get it to a state where it moved, and it was all enclosed. And as a spinner, during the weigh-in, it was subject to a spin test in the arena.
Spin. Is it safe?
This is what it does.
Is it safe?
Are you running a strobe light in there or something?
You're good.
So Hegemony was confirmed to be safe, and its first match was against the robot, which I believe was Polish. The crowd were audibly confused at what they saw in Hegemony.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go.
So with servos that travel at 110 RPM, and wheels of a diameter 3 centimeters, Hegemony has a top speed of 0.386 miles per hour, which shows here, I feel. It's definitely a dominant display from Bizarink as Hegemony plays catch up. Ed gets a charge across the arena into not much. Bizarink does some circles and throws Ed into the pit. Now for the losers bracket, Ed added a small wedge on the front of Hegemony in preparation for what would be one of the battles of the tournament. Against Bob.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
An almighty charge together ends with Ed being flipped. Everyone thinks it's all over. But Hegemony starts crawling across the arena on its spinner. And then Ed does the unthinkable. The most incredible self-right since Cassius itself. Followed by crashing out of the tournament. Hegemony, 0 wins, 2 losses. Time for Team EGEM's final robot.
Madhouse. Flipper.
Madhouse was a simple concept, a diagonal flipper. It's a spiritual successor to the robot I tried to build for RoboNerd, which didn't work out. It's also a cautionary tale about buying things without researching them properly. I started my build process wanting to make at least 2 robots for my 3 unfinished concepts. I ran with the Scoot one until about 1:30 AM on the night before the World Series, before realising that my motors were too heavy and I couldn't get the wheels to turn. I then spent the next 3 hours moving all the electronics to my diagonal flipper frame. I made some interesting design choices, such as whatever this battery circuit was, and Lego wheels glued to what I think are small drone motors with very thin shafts. By the end of the build, I couldn't be bothered to saw anymore, and I was just snapping plastic with my bare hands. The cardboard is there as a ground scraper. I heard that people used acetate, but I didn't want to be like everyone else for some reason. In testing, I was able to get a bit of movement on my dining table, so at 4:30 AM I put my tools down and got 90 minutes of sleep before waking up to leave for the tournament. When I entered the arena for my first fight, both Madhouse and the opponent had mobility issues. I could only drive backwards, and the opponent was stuck on some glue on its body. We had 5 minutes to fix our robot, so I re-glued the wheels on to go back into the arena, where this happened.
3, 2,
So my flipper was working, but the servo arm kind of fell down, so the count-out was started pretty much immediately because I had no wheel movement. If it's not clear, Madhouse lost that one. Madhouse's next fight came after the lunch break, during which I had the idea of sticking my backup servo wheels on the robot in place of the Lego wheels. Unfortunately, this pushed me over the size limit and Madhouse was disqualified. I asked to be disqualified after the fight, which the organisers agreed to, however the robot was not responding. On inspection, the batteries were very hot and had started to split, so fearing a fire, I was told to place them outside at the venue just in case. I plugged in a spare battery to the receiver, which then also started smoking. I decided then that I wasn't going to make it back for that fight, and my tournament was well and truly over. We still had another fight, which was the Rumble. Basically, loads of robots go in, last one standing wins. No time limit. 34 robots entered this one, including Kilbo Stabbins and Hegemony.
Robots is, are you ready?
Solid.
3, 2, 1, chaos!
So I decided to go right after the Tim Rackers experience, thinking that I'd get my knives to jam up his weapon. Didn't really work, we just kind of got entangled for a bit. Ed, meanwhile, got thrown about by... I genuinely don't know what that one was. You see he's upside down there, trying to self-right. I think he asked someone to help self-right him. I get free of Tim Rackers, and he rips my tyre off. As you can see, his weapon stopped spinning, so my tyre gummed up his bar. Ed's back on his wheels. I'm back on my wheels, but by this point I'm a bit damaged and I can't drive properly in this configuration. So really I'm waiting for someone to turn me back over so I can move again. Ed is
You're in the pit, spin down.
cautiously moving around. Kilbo's just spinning around. Super Nintendo Chalmers turns Kilbo back over, so I'm now able to chop and chop again, as I do. Ed's turned over again. And I've been pushed in the pit. So that's pretty much fight over for both of us, but the rumble continues.
The spinners are dead.
As you can see, a battery pops out in the middle of the arena, but all the spinners, as we just heard, are dead, so no danger. So with both of us immobilised, I think it's alright to just skip to later on in the battle, where they cleared the pits and restarted. Tom Brewster took this time to take my tyre out of his weapon, so the following happened.
That's one way of going out.
And the rumble finally ended when Bebot was flipped into the pit by For Fox's Sake. And the fun continued to not end when we had the spinner firing squad. 3 robots volunteered to be pulled apart by the spinners, and Hegemony, being a spinner, joined in.
Cannon fodder, out of micro control, Super Nintendo Chalmers. You're about to face the spinner firing squad. Any last requests?
Yes, because you're
Right, the spinners get to spin up before we say activate. So, robots is, take arms, spin him.
Here we see the gulf in power between Hegemony and other spinners.
3, 2, 1, fire!
Hegemony goes for cannon fodder.
Let's go to the bottom again.
Charges towards cannon fodder again. Hegemony flipped over. It tries to self-right again and doesn't quite work. I think the metal bit on top was damaged slightly. And then he gets entangled, immobilising Hegemony and the attacker.
Gentlemen, you're a bad excuse for a firing squad. Both 2 machines are still running that are supposed to be shot.
The spinners came close to losing this battle, but eventually they won.
That was the worst execution.
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared got stuck in the wall of the arena as well. Some success for Hegemony here. So let's take you through damage report. So Kilbo is in pretty good condition, I would say. In the Rumble, we went for the Tim Rackers experience, and that's what happens when you put cardboard up against a spinner like that. That is pretty much the only damage that we have. Other than that, this piece of glued on plastic by the battery came off, but that's also held on by the hastily added battery guard on this end. Where the Tim Rackers experience took the tyre off, it left some very small indentations in this wheel. It could have gone a lot worse, because I'm guessing that also caught this here. As you can see, there's a lot of exposed wires which could give us a disadvantage when facing something with actual damaging weaponry in the future, so this is due for a bit of a redesign with a wedge better than that of the cardboard one. Moving on to Madhouse, you can immediately see the alterations which got us disqualified. I didn't have time to put these servos on properly, so they just kind of stayed like that. Inside it's a bit sparse because I've taken all the batteries out. So I'm in the middle of deconstructing Madhouse for the next build, and I think I found what shorted the motor last time. There's a screw in the receiver. I don't know why or how that got there. I don't even know what that screw is from. You are going right back in your case now, young man. This has potential, I think. People were saying it was an interesting design. But needs a bit of work, I feel. I didn't get to give Hejmi a proper damage report section, but it did survive this big hit here. I'm going to now look to my next event, where I'm going to show you some stuff I've ordered for next time. My next builds will feature proper lipos, proper gear motors, wheels that have traction, and proper bidirectional speed controllers. It's going to be a good robot, so I will make sure that I do a video of that, and I'll see you next time. This has been EGEM Robotics. Thank you for watching.